It's been a while now since my last tier list. A couple patches have come and gone. I was going to make one next week, or no, last week rather, but there was a new change coming this week. So I thought I'd wait, but now changes have gone live, and I've played a lot of games with the new changes. So therefore, we're just going to jump into it and start ranking every single spec. This is going to be mainly focused, I would say, on Shuffle and Arena. But of course, you get impressions from, like, PvP in general, but mainly Shuffle / like threes in mind. Let's start with Feral. Okay, Feral has been really good recently. It's been better. It's been better recently than it's pretty much ever been. Maybe since like Cataclysm or something. It's been insane. We got a slight nerf, but that's not really changing the fact that we are in S tier. Okay, Feral is I would say the best melee right now, which is kind of crazy to say because that's never really the case. But right now, we're going with that. We're going to be popping the Boomy in, I think, maybe lower A tier. To me, Boomy is strong. I actually think it's strong. I think lower A tier, higher B tier. I think it's quite tanky. It has good damage, fast clones. It's in a good spot. It's in a good spot. But yeah, so on this website, we kind of see what specs are being played. You can't really just score just off this because sometimes specs are more niche and are still very, very good. But Ardruid is a healer that has been struggling for a while in this expansion. It's definitely like not in the top 2. I would say it's also probably not in the top 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in B tier. Okay, now on to Hunter. So I've actually played every single Hunter spec in recent times. MM not that recently though. Actually, more survival. Well, today a lot of survival, and I think survival's strong. I'm gonna put that somewhere in the A tier. They kind of fixed it recently because at one point it was just breaking its own traps because of explosive shots just jumping everywhere. That's been fixed. Butchery feels really good, and that's going in the A tier. MM really fell off hard with the recent changes. The question is how bad is it? Maybe like lower B, something like that. And again, this is like mainly for Shuffle, but also, Arena in general. BM, Beast Mastery Hunter, they're still insane. The pressure they do is just absurd. Like, it's so unreal, man. It's actually unreal. I don't know exactly how BM works, but yeah, it's just crazy. So I'll be putting BM in S tier with Feral Druid. Unholy in the start of the expansion was S tier. I mean, it was up there. It was really, really good. But then it got nerfed, and it was still really good. But then it got nerfed again. And then he got nerfed again. Like, it just kept getting, like, all these, like, I guess, pretty big nerfs at times, too. And over time, they really added up. It's taken a bit of a fall from grace. And I'll be putting it down in B tier with MM. Frost DK. So people are telling me that Frost actually kind of pumps. And I've seen Frost do decent things in certain scenarios. Like Deva Frost DK in 3s can work. But overall, to me, Frost just not good. I think he's really bad, man. I think he's really bad. And I barely faced it recently, which, kind of reflects that sentiment also. It's usually really bad spec. I think there are times it can shine, but overall, it's going in F tier, man. I'm putting it there. The stars really have to align for Frost DK. And if they don't, you're kind of useless. Enhancement Shaman. I think recently has been seeing a bit of a resurgence. Was really like down low for a long time. I've actually also leveled my Shaman now, my Enhance Shaman. So I'll be playing that soon. I think Enhance is actually, yeah, it's like finally coming to the light a bit after a long time in the shadows. I don't think it's amazing. Like it's not like S tier. And I will be putting it in A tier. Ellie Shaman. So Ellie got, well, the recent patch, Ellie was really insane. Like S tier. But they nerfed pretty fast. I think to like 1 week, and they got nerfed a good amount. Especially on their ascendants, right? It's still good though. I don't think it quite cuts S tier. But it's solid. It's solid. Yeah, they also like nerfed those overload lava bursts, right? I think I'll put it somewhere here though. I'm actually not quite sure about Ellie. Like, higher A, I think is where I'll put it. Resto Shaman, like, they seem good, but they're not quite breaking through into like the top 3 healers. I think R Shaman to me is a similar one to R Druid in terms of healers. Like, it seems pretty good, but they also like almost have the same amount of representation. But they seem pretty good, but doesn't quite break through into like the meta. I think I'll put them somewhere here. Arcane is a tough one to rank because no one plays it. Like, even when Arcane is really good, almost no one plays it. I think it's a hard spec to play. I think Arcane is good. I'll put it A tier. Again, like, you don't see it much though, so it's kind of hard to score in that regard. Fire got buffed recently quite a bit as well. Glass Cannon was just made like... I don't know if Fire Mages actually play Glass Cannon anymore, but Glass Cannon is such a big HP loss now. Like, it's insane. I think it's actually decent. I also asked Aegis what he thinks about it like a while ago when I was watching his stream. And I believe he said like it's actually pretty decent now, like after the changes. It's nowhere near like meta. So I'll put it in C tier. That's quite low. Man, Frost has been really solid this whole expansion. I wouldn't quite give it S tier, but it's really disruptive, has good damage, good to see, of course. It's a mage. For me, it's like very high A. Let's see here now. The Warrior. Let's do Warrior. So I've actually played Fury and Arms just these last few days. Quite a bit of it too. And man, I've been torn like the Arms versus Fury thing. Maybe in a month I'll change my mind and I put Arms higher, but I think for now I'll do something like this though. Havoc DH, a spec that for years was always like high A or S, like always, but they have not been at their normal strength this expansion. I think they have decent damage potential, but they're very vulnerable. Very vulnerable. I feel like DH right now in so many lobbies, like with all these melees, it comes down to like having to like glimpse stunts and stuff, which is not necessarily a good win condition or like yeah, because that's kind of tough to do sometimes. Put a higher C tier. I don't know. Like maybe it's a bit low for DH. It could probably be a bit higher. But as this tier list is kind of shaping up, I think I might do something like this. Augmentation Evoker, man. I saw them do things at one point in this expansion in like 2v2, and I actually played with 1 and 2s. Beyond that, I've barely seen it. When I've seen it, it's looked really bad. But yeah, I'll put an F there, man. I will. Devastation. They can do a lot of damage. They're semi-meta, like you see them quite a bit. I think I will put them in a decent spot. Probably like middle of the A tier or something like that. Now we have Preservation Evoker, man. They started off being maybe like... Well, they were definitely top 2 healers. After the Holy Pala buffs, Holy Pala kind of pushed them out. Somewhere in A tier for sure. Exactly where, I'm not sure. I'm torn this one, I can't lie. I'll place it next to Deva. How about that? Priests. Shadow Priests. They got nerfed recently, like a little slap on the wrist. Kind of similar to Feral Druid. I think it's still really good. I think Shadow is still really, really good. The question is if it's lower S or higher A for me. I think lower S. I think I'll still put a lower S. Disc was wreaking havoc for a long time. They got some slight nerfs also recently. Actually, maybe more than slight nerfs, to be fair. They have gotten a little bit less popular, especially now we've seen more Holy Paladins come to light as well. And now with the recent Holy Paladin nerf also, like maybe it's kind of hard to call, and it's still very fresh changes also. But I think I'll put Disc somewhere higher A still. Holy Priest is the least played healer out of all the healers. There was only one Holy Priest in all of the AWC. He was on my team, Senlin. And he kind of makes it work, but yeah, Holy Priest, not doing too hot. I'll put it somewhere here. To me, it's like somewhere there. And also, I have a lot of first-hand experience playing with it, and yeah, it's not too hot. It has been brought to my attention that in Soul Shuffle, Outlaw Rogue is performing better towards the top end, but overall, it's way less played. Actually, by the way, I'm a hunter. I had a rogue in my lobby, and I trinket blind, and he's one-shot me in duel, but that's my fault for trinketing blind. They can do a lot of damage. They can. But overall, I think I'll put it in B. I think sub has potential. I'll put a higher B. I'm happy with that. Man, I'm kind of torn in this one, actually. I think maybe I'll bump Suburg up low A and put Outlaw. I kind of switch things around a little bit to kind of create some more space here, you know, because things are in relation to each other to some degree. Like Rogues, man, Rogues is like a weird one to rate now. Like, usually Rogues, to me, is stronger. I feel like Rogues overall are seeing less play than they usually do. I know Asa Rogue is played quite a bit, but in my experience, they're too much of a sitting duck. I think they feel a bit like Feraldra did before, where you're very vulnerable. I think Feral has kind of gotten over that a bit, but Asa Rogue is not. And I'm going to put higher B on Asa Rogue. Okay, guys, Monk now. Okay, Mistweaver Monk. So Mistweaver recently, like just the last few weeks, has been making a bit of a comeback, I would say. They're actually the third most played healer now behind Holy Pala and Disc Priest by most metrics. Behind Holy Pala and Disc Priest, is it Press Evoker or Mistweaver now? Mistweaver's more played, which changed recently. I think it's quite close there. Like, it's, you could argue for both. Windwalker Monk, man. I think, to me, Windwalker's stronger than most people think. Smack middle of A. Yeah, I think it's in a good spot. I do. And that might be a hot take, but I'm going to stick with that. Okay, guys. Holy Paladin, man. Holy Pala post, like, the big changes they got was the best healer by far. Recently, though, they did nerf him kind of hard. I think one of these will be Esther. Okay, you know what? For now, I'll still put Holy Pala Esther and then Disc Priest high A. I think Holy Pala still has the edge. Red Paladin, guys. Retribution Pala. Historically, one of the most popular specs. Like, usually, it's one or two. Like, in most played melee. You know, Pharaoh's not up there usually. Red is very, very popular. I think where I'm going to put it is, like, here. Like, mid-B tiers. Somewhere mid-B tier. Like, I've always put them higher, but, like, I don't know, man. They need something. They need something. And like, this rework thing that they got on the 20th anniversary was not that something. Guys, now we got Warlocks. Like, just my last lobby action now, on like 2,550 MR, or almost 2,6 MR, there was one Alpha and one demo, and I've actually had that quite a bit. A lot of Warlocks. A tier is a good thing to have many specs in. A tier is like, to me, A is the point where it's like the Goldilocks zone. And speaking of that, when it comes to Warlocks, I think they're all somewhere in that zone, but probably from minus to plus. Like, Afli was, of course, crazy Esther at some point. It's not quite that anymore. They're all like strong. They're all very strong. For me, it's going to be something like this. And then Destruction Warlock. I think he's also pretty good, but a little bit. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Definitely facing way more Alphaline demo, so I can just kind of score based off that as well. But also when I face Destro, I'd rather face that than the other two. Like, here's the thing. I think NS is a bit high. I actually do agree with that. I think I put NS a bit high. Like, it's had a moment of shining, but like when I actually like think about it, it's probably a bit lower than this. Just because, like, at this point, it kind of ended up being like mid, maybe almost high A. In all reality, I should probably put it a bit lower like this or something. Because, like, once you plot in things early and then you put in all the specs, things that you might think about as low A in your head end up being like mid A or like high A because it just fills up that way. So, I think I'll change that, yeah. Little change. This is now the final tier list. Right here. In my opinion again, but yeah, there it is.